totally different, actually. You know, they've tried to build a, you know, something great for him, and obviously they did enough to keep him there. And you know, I think it's great that he's staying there. He's committed to that franchise, and you know, and that's what it's all about. So, but I don't think my situation and his situation, it's no similarities, and it's totally different.
You know, I just kind of take it with a grain of salt. You know, obviously it's you know, if he ends up signing, it's a great thing for the Milwaukee Bucks to be able to keep a player of that stature. You know, I really just react to these moves as they come and see how they impact the competitive landscape of what we're about to face.
All right, Allie, I'll start with you. What was your reaction to his contract extension?
Let me ask you, I was with you this morning when I saw this.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I feel like it was pretty even keel, don't you think?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. I think it's because I go back to, I know many people from the outside looking in probably thought that when they saw this decision come out, there would be another name next to Giannis Antetokounmpo. It wouldn't be with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, when you kind of announced it to our group that was socially distant apart from each other, we all said, like, oh, like we all knew he'd stay there.
Yeah, I think we all had that inkling. And a lot, it kind of goes back to a couple summers ago, and I think there was a report coming out about his off-season workouts and people asking whether or not he worked out with other stars, other players around the league. And he made it very clear, no, I actually train to beat those individuals, you know, and I use that as a competitive factor. So I wasn't surprised. And I actually kind of looked at it from a standpoint of this is a mutual respect and trust between him and the city of Milwaukee, the franchise of Milwaukee. I thought his post said it very clearly and plainly. This is home. This is my city. And it's kind of a lot like what I feel like we experienced with Anthony Davis and his commitment to Los Angeles. When you've got caliber players and stars of that nature who are approaching commitments as such, when they love where they are and they trust where they are and the franchise that they're working with, committing as these two have done here with Giannis Antetokounmpo in particular, you love to see it.
And Dan, for me, I mean, I was telling friends who were Laker fans a few weeks back when they were talking about Giannis and, oh, could he come here? My thoughts were always, why would he play with LeBron and AD? Is he going to play off ball and be a spot-up shooter? That's not his game. Now, maybe down the road, 4 or 5 years from now, we'll see. But I think teams like Miami and Dallas, they had high hopes. And Giannis is saying, I'm staying there, and I'm trying to win.
Geeter, you should know there's some bomb Greek food in the South Bay. That might be one.
No doubt about that, buddy.
No, I think, you know, Allie said it best. It's a relationship with a city, right? I'll give you an example. So Vin Baker was an all-star with the Bucks, got traded to Seattle, and you know, saw his life kind of go into shambles through alcoholism and stuff like that. Vin Baker is an assistant coach now with the Milwaukee Bucks. Works with Giannis all the time. Is a guy who, you know, flies to Greece in the offseason to spend that time with Giannis. And look, and he sees what that organization has done for someone like Vin Baker. I think like it's just you know, they treat him like a special person and a special player, and they've done that since he's been in the league. And they've made moves to try to commit to him that they're going to try to be active in winning. And I think, you know, look, if you can sign for 5 years and $230 million in a place that you like, go do it, you know. And I think Giannis has that competitive edge. He has that juice. And I think, you know, for the league, it's just such a win to have a player want to stay in a smaller market. It gives hope to the Memphises of the world, to New Orleans, you know, these places where stars like Giannis typically want to leave and go to a coast, you know, and this is a guy who stayed. I think it's disappointing for Laker fans, right? He's a terrific player, but, you know, good on the competition, and you know, it'll be fun, hopefully, to maybe see him in a finals sometime.
Yeah, I think it's great for him that he's staying in Milwaukee. Great insight with Vin Baker. He was a lot of fun to watch back in the day. So AD and Giannis, two of the best in the game, they're now signed, Allie and Dan, to big contracts. Are these two deals going to be the ones, you know, down the road that people compare because of who they are, their size, and they're two of the best in the league?
I would actually say that you can't do that as individual talents between the lines. I really don't think so. I think of when you think of Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, that's what you think of. When you think of Anthony Davis, it's really hard to have a conversation about Anthony Davis as a Los Angeles Laker without talking about LeBron James, and vice versa. And that's no disrespect. You know, it's a lot like what Fish said the other night as well. It is the closest thing to Shaq and Kobe that you've seen in a Laker uniform since. And I think that is a mutual respect between the two. From a contract standpoint, yeah, of course, I think we'll talk about these two because, again, it's something that we were surprised with Anthony Davis because it hasn't happened in the last decade or so, and it's an appreciation there. But between the lines, I don't think you can compare.
Dan, before you jump in, I got a quote for you. In November, Giannis had some praise for King James, saying this to Cosmo TV about LeBron. LeBron is, of course, a great opponent. I want to beat him, and he is the best player in the world right now. It doesn't matter who is the MVP. He is the best. I say so. He is the best in the world. The day that I would be the best player in the world, I will step forward and say it. At this moment, the best is LeBron James. For sure, he is the example I follow, and not only on the court, but as a human being. He's part of this business, called the NBA for 17 years, and you've never heard anything negative about LeBron. He never did anything wrong. He goes out, does his job. He tries to win all the time. So a lot of respect, Dan, for LeBron shown by the back-to-back MVP. Does this tell you that until Giannis wins the ring, LeBron is still the top dog?
You hear respect. I hear tampering, guys. I think we should get Adam Silver.
Clip it.
Sounds to me like, he should be like, I respect LeBron. There's really, really cheap waterfront property here in Milwaukee. Like, no, I think it does. I mean, I think there was a time, I want to say, the middle of last season. I'm sorry, the year before that, the All-Star game in Charlotte, where I actually wrote a story about this, where I walked around to different guys at their podiums on media day and asked them, who's the best player in the world? And it was split. Some people said Giannis, some people still said LeBron, some people said Kevin Durant. And this was really the first time in LeBron's career that he didn't have that sort of unofficial, sort of like pound for pound type title, right? I don't think there would be any split if you ask players today. I think he silenced all of that last season, definitely silenced it in the bubble and in the playoffs and the finals when he was so dominant. And I think, guys know this around the league. I think for Giannis to get to that next level of respect, it's going to have to come with the title. I think people are sick of him winning MVPs and losing in the playoffs. I think he's got some really big game.
That's your
strong.
That's a wrap. That's what that means. Allie, that's your cue.
Cue to start talking.
Dan is having an epic first show, Allie. Epic first show.
I mean, from hot dogs oozing out of masks to being luscious to the dog. This is great. Do you want me to pick up? Or?
Yeah, I mean.
I just think I love.
Be back, guys. This is going awesome.
This is amazing. Yeah. I love seeing the respect. I think the greats do it so well in this league, especially, is when they understand and know that the ones that came before them in their place. But I also wouldn't be surprised if this was a way for Giannis to motivate himself, to continue to talk into existence in reality what he has before him. If he wants to be more than just back-to-back MVPs. I mean, he said it's all about winning. Yeah. He hasn't done anything. I think you heard that when he got the award this season. Don't
hasn't been to the finals yet.
Exactly. And so with that said, I think there's so much more for him to want to accomplish. And I think his decision to be in Milwaukee, make that commitment, and show that trust and security is one step in the right direction of getting that started.
Hey guys, the times that I've been around him, he doesn't strike me ever. I know, this is a real mess. He doesn't strike me as a guy who's satisfied, right? Yeah, that's not his thing. He's an incredibly competitive person. He's an incredibly prideful person. And think about what he's himself into so far, right? If you were somebody who is satisfied with things, you wouldn't get to where he's at. You just wouldn't do it.
By the way, we had a tweet. Are we showing that right now?
Is it about the dog?
There was a tweet. There was a tweet between Bill Oram, who's probably tweeting about the dog right now. So Dan said this: the most barista substitution in NBA history just made by the Clippers. T-Man and a coffee. Check in. And then, of course, Bill, like he does every single night, coffee, bean, and tea leaf. Pretty good by Bill Oram. Is this what we can come to expect between you and your friend Bill Oram? Kind of the bad jokes, bad puns, and some fun too.
Jokes.
Sorry, great. They're great. They're great.
Wow.
No, they're great. They're great. We just like to give Bill a hard time on this show.
Hey, guys, you need to know that there's joy, and I know joy in this world, but there's no better joy than watching Bill Oram celebrate his own tweet doing slightly better than yours. Even under
oh my God, you're so right.
That guy, he is so, that mustache curls up. It's like a kid on Christmas morning.